Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me Elias Patras. Hey, Elias.
How are you?
I am great, and I'm so excited to get into our interview because you've done a lot of really cool things and you got a new book coming out. So, really excited.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I'm going to read your short bio and I'll let you tell the long story. So, Elias Patras is a best-selling author, intuitive motivator, psychic medium, and motivational speaker, as well as a retreat and workshop facilitator. He combines his years of intuitive work and life coaching with teaching to support others on their journey of self-development so they can connect with their goals, educate themselves through their blocks, and grow in their limitless possibilities. He has studied energy work for over 20 years and now co facilitates an earth honoring altar apprenticeship program after completing a Peruvian Shamanic Studies apprenticeship. Elias won the 2019 Celebrate Your Life Speaker program. So, Elias' mission is to help others understand and tap into their own intuition and inner voice. He believes the key to personal growth is listening for and connecting to the signs and signals that we receive. And he has a new book coming out. So, I want to hear all about everything. So, tell us your story because I know you didn't start out doing any of that. You were doing other things totally.
A lot of other things. And I guess, as you were talking, it really takes me back to how did I really get here? How did I really get here? Well, it's a great story. And my mom and dad, my mom and dad right there, my mom was 46 and my dad was 56. And my mom had 5 miscarriages. So they wanted to have a child and they actually wanted to have 2 children. So they decided to adopt. Everybody told them that they were too old to have a kid and, it was too late, whatever. So they went to Greece to get 2 children over the ages of 5. Before my parents left, the night before, my mom had a dream that she found a baby in a blue crib with a white dove painted on it. Outside the orphanage had 2 stone pillars, 2 stone doves, and that's how she would know where the kid was, is what she heard in the voice, in the dream. And the next day they go and they're going through all the orphanages, and being older parents, they wanted healthier children, so they found a lot of kids that had issues that would be challenging later in life. So they were on their way back to the hotel, and my mom and dad both felt, like, okay, this was a not a good thing to find no one today. And my mom looks at my dad and she holds his hand and she tells the driver, please stop the car. And the lawyer that was in the car, she said, no, no, this is only for kids 3 or under. And my mom said, no, no, we have to go in. 2 stone pillars, 1 stone dove. And the way that my mom tells the story, this beautiful brown beige turtle dove flew on her shoulder and flew off. I'm like, we call that a pigeon, but that's okay. They went inside, and inside the orphanage, center row, all the way in the back, blue crib, white dove. And that's where I was. So I really believe my journey started being placed with these 2 amazing people, learning their old world values and learning what real love was and unconditional love. And let's face it, I'm Greek. So Greek culture is just like Catholic and Jewish guilt. We have surpassed them. So there's always a little unconditional love with a lot of it of guilt. So but I learned so much from them. And I grew up on the southeast side of Chicago. We moved to the north side of Chicago. Um, I started having dreams when I was little about a loved one that would be in church, all of my relatives in church. The one person that wasn't there, I was looking for them and looking for them. The phone would ring. It would wake me up. My parents would come into my room and say, so and so passed away. And that was the person that was in my dream that wasn't, well, that was the person that wasn't in my dream. It would happen a lot. Junior high school hit and all of that intuitive type stuff stopped. So it didn't come back again until I was around 28, 30. No, let me take that back. Around 32, because it was a couple years before my mom passed away. Meanwhile, I'm working in retail. I'm becoming a junior assistant manager, and then a assistant manager, and then a manager, and then I became a district manager trainee, all in retail, different kinds of retail. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I learned a lot about customer service. I learned a lot about business. And then I went from there to Leo Burnett Advertising. My parents were thrilled. And Leo Burnett, one of the places that I was, one of the clients that I was with, they lost the contract. So there went my job at Leo Burnett. And I got a job. Dr. Kinley, you won't believe this. I don't know, if anybody knows, if you've been there, you know it. Ed DeBevick's restaurant. It's a crazy 50s, 60s restaurant where you dress up as a 50s, 60s character, and you're allowed to be a little sassy to the clients, to the customers. So, for example, if you were at my table and I was serving you and you said, "Hey, Elias," or it was a fake name, whatever the name would be, and "Hey, I'd like some dessert," and I'd look at your plate and go, "Nope, you didn't finish your hamburger," and just walk away. So it was that kind of yeah, exactly. And so much fun. And I was there. My parents were like, "Do not tell the family that you work at this restaurant." I said, "Why?" They said, "Because you dance on the tables like a monkey in a zoo." I'm like, "Oh my God, really?" And a year after that, I became a manager for a couple of years. And my parents were like, "Oh my God, he's the manager of a multi-million-dollar restaurant in downtown Chicago." I'm like, "You know what I mean by the guilt?" I mean, it's like, it's crazy, crazy. But that all taught me how to be more outgoing. I was so reserved, and I learned to be a little bit more outgoing. I then went into massage school, became a massage therapist, then I became a massage instructor. And the energy work I was learning while I was doing Edbevic stuff, learning the restaurant stuff. So I brought that into my massage work. And then I did a lot of self-help stuff. My mom died in 2000 and my dad died in 2001. And that really rocked my world. It showed me also the strength that I had. But so many years of being the good kid, not talking back, always being the people pleaser, I had years of that to unravel, and really starting to love myself first, which was really hard because I wanted everybody else to be happy. And if everybody else was happy, then I would be happy. That's what we were taught. And such a valuable lesson. So I did life coaching training, and I started doing my own retreats. I just finished my 50th weekend retreat. And
Congratulations. That's
so
an anniversary number there.
it is. And I loved it. Meanwhile, in between there, a couple of years before that, I was with Celebrate Your Life. And Celebrate Your Life has these amazing authors. They have Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Anita Moorjani, Michael Beckwith. They had Lisa Williams, John Holland, Denise Linn. Also, I was going to say the former, but they had people like Wayne Dyer. So they've been around for almost 30 years, and I could be wrong in that number, but they had a speaker program. So I enlisted in the speaker program. I did the speaker program, and the winner got to get to be on stage with some of these luminary speakers and presented 2-hour workshops. So I won and got a workshop out of it. So it was just amazing to be on that stage. So, and here we are today.
That is That is beautiful.
Thank you. That's my journey. That is my journey.
Yeah. So the things you're doing now, you're doing retreats, you're working with
Thank you.
people one-on-one. Um, so you have so many skills. So what skills are you using now to help people, and how are you helping people?
I'm using all of them. I'm using every single one of them. Anything. Here's the beauty of this, and I'm sure your listeners would understand this. You have a toolbox, and you constantly add to your toolbox. And sometimes you might not use the hammer. You might say, oh, here's a new way of using what you would use a hammer for. And you use, I'm making this up as I go, people. Maybe you use the back of a book to slam that nail in there because the hammer just doesn't feel right. But the ability to have all the tools there is amazing. Every time I get up to do a present a workshop or be on a podcast or be on the radio, whatever it is, I know that I have these tools to use, and I'm not always going to get it right. And that's the beauty of it, that I don't have to be a perfectionist. Before, I used to beat myself up that I didn't get it right, or, oh my God, Elias, can you believe that you said that? What? The big fat Greek mouth just opened up. But I think that piece of being real, of being authentic, of being in my integrity and having just speaking from the heart, I think that is the biggest tool that I have learned, that it's not going to be right. I tell people when I do psychic medium stuff, I don't claim to be 100% accurate. Nobody should. And I wouldn't be human if I was. I always make a big joke. I'm like, I don't get 100% right, but only God and Oprah. Those are the only two. But it's knowing that we have tools that we can use, and I use as many as I can and see. And like you, I just let it flow. Sometimes when I'm on a retreat and I have a brief outline of what we're going to do on the retreat, someone will mention something. One of the attendees might mention something. I might make up an exercise that's just for them right in that moment. And sometimes I really don't know where it came from, divinely entered, I guess, because I'm like, well, that was good. Where did that come from? And it just hits at the right moment. But instead of overthinking it, instead of going, oh my God, what are they going to think? I just be with it and just really come from the heart and say, okay, here's what my sense is. Here's where I'm going. So I use a lot of my intuition. I use the tools that I learned in life coaching. I use the presentation skills that I've learned being a server, being a restaurant manager, being a retail manager, of how to work with people. And I think that's something that we have lost a little bit, is how to work with people one-on-one, face-to-face. I think COVID did a big shift for so many people. And I think we're slowly getting back to, how do we treat one another? How do we treat one another with grace?
Yeah, exactly. And when you were talking about just basically being really flexible, I come from the therapy space. So I'm a behavioral optometrist. So I work with people with their vision and brains and bodies. And people would come in, and it seems like the doctors would send me the hardest ones. They're like, oh, we don't know what to do with this person. Let's just send them over to see Dr. Linert. you know, and I would look at them and say, okay, well, this is what you can do. Let's start where you can do, and where it is you want to go. Okay, all right. And I've done that many times. I make up exercises. Um, I think people in my profession, we're famous for creating things. If I need this, I might use a block or a this or a that. I mean, I just make up my own tools. I mean, physical tools, because you just have to meet the need of the person where they're at. And if there's not a tool, you have to create one.
Right. That's so true. And I think what we're missing is that people, I believe, I could be wrong, but some people, we'll say some people are in it to, how does it gratify them? How does it move them? And for me, it's like you have somebody in front of you. How are you going to make or do something that is going to shift them and empower them? I don't need to be empowered. I'm working continuously on empowering myself. But how do I hold space for someone so they can become empowered?
Exactly. So when you have your retreats, what do you title the retreats? I know you do all sorts of things once you get there, but what do you title the retreats and what attracts people to come to them?
That's a great question. So I had originally 6 retreats that I would do. I would do honoring your inner voice, nurturing your inner voice, reclaiming your inner voice, aspects of love, manifesting your desires. And the 6th one was always like something special, like greatest love of all, or it would be a Mother's Day special thing. It would always be like one special retreat. And social media, I mean, I just get on social media and I start talking about it. And I have to tell you, since I've revamped some of the retreats in these past few years, I have one woman that has not missed a single retreat. She's like, oh, I'll keep on coming and I'll take it again because each time I come, I learn something different. We do so many wonderful things. There's experiential exercises in the retreats. There is a sound healing ceremony that we'll do, and people are like, oh, singing bowls. Nope. Ours is a little bit Chilean based,
Mhm.
and it is with rattles and drums and movement, and everybody is a participant in it. So it's very moving. It's very moving. I did one last year in the springtime at Skamania Lodge in Stevenson, Washington, and actually we're going to be doing one in March of 2025. So I'm excited about that. That's working on the title because what I'm going to be doing is taking aspects of love and my new book, which is called Changing the FU to Thank You, How to Flip the Script and See the Gift. It's based on a mindset principle, MINDSET. Each letter means something. So I'm going to use those principles and I'm going to bring the two together to have this amazing retreat. So pretty excited about it. If I remember the name, I'm pretty sure this name. I think it is this, and don't quote me because I'm like the Mindset of Love Retreat, Awakening the Heart and Bridging Self-Love and Growth.
Mm.
That is what I'm going for. I had to check my notes real quick, but that's what I'm going for. And I'm excited about it. It's going to be, we do a lot of different things. It's going to be really interesting. Each retreat teaches me something. It's not just about the attendees. It's about me also being a student. I always say that the people that come always teach me. So, by then I'll be retreat 52, I think. So super excited about it. Super excited about it.
That is exciting. Do you have them all different places or do you have it always in the same place?
All different places. I live in Washington, so I love this one in Washington because I can do the sound healing. I've done them in the Midwest because I am originally, like I said, from Chicago. So there's a place that we do it. It's called Tiramuse Wellness Sanctuary, and that's in Mechanicsville, Iowa. And I've done it there. That's more intimate. That only holds about 14 people. So, but with Skamania and some of the other places, we can have, 25 to 35. I don't like to do more than 50 people because then I need a couple assistants and I want to make sure that everybody is still getting what they need to get.
But even when you say like 25, that's a lot of people to hold space for and teach and make sure all the housekeeping things are happening. So, what do you do to prepare yourself when you're going to do a retreat?
So the apprenticeship program that we were talking about earlier is we have people that go through this 1 year program and they are training to be assistants. And hopefully, my goal is, knock on wood, my goal is to have several retreats happen at the same time. This way, as the people move up in the ranks, they can actually lead a retreat based on some of the things that I have taught them, or say, here's the outline and see what you want to do, and maybe I make a pop in on a day or something like that. Who knows, that's coming down the track, I think. But it's preparing the assistants, always walking through. What I always like to do is I have a little powwow. We have a meet and greet before the retreat with all the attendees, so everybody can see each other. Everybody can say, hey, I'm flying in this time and I'm flying in this time, and hey, let's do a carpool or whatever if we don't have transportation. It's just nice to get that together. What we'll do is then we have a meeting with staff and I go over the whole routine, the whole outline. I know by now that things can change on the fly. And I explain to them the why. Why are we doing this? And what are we going to be looking for? And make sure that we're always present. We always want to be welcoming. We always want to be from the heart. And if they notice that someone's having a situation or an issue, come with me, come to me about it, and we'll deal with it. I always need to have a finger on the spot to know, like, okay, this is what's going on. Got it. Thank you. We had this one woman, we were sitting in circle and talking, and it was part of our sharing. And she said, Elias, I have to leave. And I said, is everything okay? And she said, well, my family needs me. And I said, okay, did they ask you to come home? No, I just feel like I have to do it. And I said, okay, so this retreat is called Honoring Your Inner Voice. And I said, so if we're going to honor it, you really were looking forward to this retreat. And I said, would they be able to handle the situation without you? Oh, yes, I just want to be in charge of it. And I said, so when are you going to give to yourself? And she stayed, and she called me when she got home. She goes, it was taken care of. I didn't have to worry. And I realized what a control freak I am. So it's just remarkable at the little tiny lessons that happen. And I love that happened for her, because it also showed some of the other people what they were dealing with, and maybe they didn't say it. Everybody learns from everybody. The Mapuche tribe of Chile have a beautiful saying. They say, your healing is my healing. And I love it. I love it. So these retreats have been life-changing for me. I know when I was a student learning, I know what it did for me, and I want to be able to give that back.
So, let's see, I'm going to look at the words so I can remember. So when you did your training, Earth Honoring Altar Apprenticeship, so Peruvian Shamanic Studies. So not everybody knows what all that is. You
Right.
want to describe what that is and how you use it?
So Peruvian Shamanic Studies is based on the teachings of the Andes, of the people in Peru in the Andes. So they have taught my teachers. So my teacher learned from Alberto Villoldo, who did many huge books about shaman, healer, sage, the dance of the four winds. He has a four wind society. So, and they learned the ways of the mesa, and the mesa is a medicine cloth, and it's different directions, each meaning something different. So in Peruvian base, just like a medicine wheel, it's a medicine wheel of life that we would say in the Native American Indian. Each culture has a medicine wheel. So you have, in the Peruvian culture, you have south, west, north, and east. South is about Mother Earth, west is about the water, north is about spirit, and east is about fire. So you have the elements in there. You also have another layer on top of it. West is feminine, east is masculine. So you have all these different layers. And a friend of mine were talking, we're like, what happens if somebody didn't really vibrate to this Peruvian way of creating something? What could we do that would be kind of earth honoring, but still have like this medicine cloth or this medicine altar? So hence earth honoring altar apprenticeship. So we're allowing the people to pick a culture that resonates for them. So we take the elements of earth. Okay. Where do you feel earth on your medicine wheel? Where are you coming from? If you're following a Celtic medicine wheel, that may be in a different direction than what I'm showing, but the elements mean the same. So they are now learning this piece of tangible objects that they can relate to something that is in their heart and mind. For example, Catholic people use rosary beads, right? It's something tangible that they can pray with. So what I would use is maybe a stone that I have, like maybe I'm dealing with a lot of fear. I would look at my medicine altar and I would say, okay, let me pick up this stone. What are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to teach me? And being raised Greek Orthodox, I had a big serious issue about like, I don't understand how this is working. And is God gonna like hit me with lightning and I'm gonna die right here on the spot? But it was interesting because I had my medicine cloth on a little table, and above it was an icon that came from my grandfather from Greece. It's 200 years old. It's from the monastery in Greece. It's the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. And I'm like, you know what? I don't understand how I'm supposed to get your message or understand your stuff through this. How is this talking to this? And when I did the two ways that I'm doing with my hands, looking up and looking down, I'm like, oh my God. God, universe, spirit, whatever anybody is comfortable in saying, created everything. So this tangible thing has energy. And now I understand. And my Greek guilt can go away. So I understood that it was something that was something in my hand that could be animated with breath or with energy. Everything has energy, as you know that. But it gave me permission to go deeper into my own spiritual beliefs. And it's not that I have forgotten my Greek Orthodox background, it has enhanced it.
Yeah. So the rock or the object, I guess I'm still having a little trouble connecting.
Sure.
What do you do with that with the medicine cloth?
So for the people on the podcast, you're not going to be able to see this, but for the people on YouTube, you can see over here, I have a medicine cloth. And this medicine cloth, I'll describe it. It's on a table. It's a piece of fabric that is a cloth, and everything on there is set up like a medicine wheel. So if I was to grab the stone came from a sweat lodge, and the stone actually split in 4 pieces. And I took this as my earth connection. And I know that this means that sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit flighty, if I hold this stone, and you'll notice that my talking is calming down a little bit, I'm talking a little bit slower, I'm feeling a little bit more grounded because I was super excited about our time together. And I can feel this really grounding me, really allowing me to be solid. And actually, my hand is warming up as I'm holding this. And that's just from a stone. So when you blow energy into a stone, the intention is this stone, I'm using it for grounding. I'm thinking of the grounding. I'm going to blow that energy into the stone. And now this object is my grounding stone.
Oh, well, now that makes sense to me. And I don't have a medicine cloth, but Several years ago, I went down to, we have a pond in our neighborhood. I went down to the pond and I found this, it's actually quite large rock, kind of a granite rock. And I use it as a doorstop in my bedroom closet. But when I can't get outside and it's cold, because a lot of times you want to go do grounding with bare feet, right? But it's cold, so I don't want to, or I just feel like I need to be outside, but I can't be outside. I take off my shoes and I put my foot on that rock and just leave it on the rock for a few minutes. And it does calm me down. I do not understand why it happens. I don't even know what led me to do that. I just said, I need this rock. So when I want to go outside and I put it in my room and that's what I do. Not really knowing any background, I just experiential.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of this work is. A lot of this work is trusting the heart and really seeing, there's a lot of faith in this work, meaning that I'm putting the faith that something's going to happen, something's going to shift. I've had people on my retreat come on a retreat and they're like, well, this was nice. It was a nice getaway. And a week later, the two people that I can think of called me out and they're like, wow, I didn't know how this would hit me. I didn't understand. I was just, monkey see, monkey do. I was doing the motions, but it's phenomenal. We've had people, one lady said, I have been in therapy for 10 years. And what came up out of my journaling and what came up out of the exercise surpassed the 10 years of therapy. And she's a therapist herself.
That is really amazing.
So I think it's giving the people permission to go within without judgment, not judging what comes out, but actually guiding them and saying, here's a question for you. What do you think about this? What if this was the situation? What would you do? So it's giving people the permission to go outside of their comfort zone and play a little bit. So the apprenticeship program is very different, but I will bring some of the pieces of the medicine cloth with me on retreats. The one that I always use is it sits in the west of my medicine cloth, which is the feminine, which is also symbolizing water, which is also symbolizing the moon. So it's all about the emotions. And what I do is I'm on social media a lot. I'm on TikTok and I'll have people, they'll say something. I'm like, oh, can I write down a prayer for you? Are you okay with that? And they said, yeah. So I put prayers in a little bowl. And what we'll do Friday night from the retreat is I'll take all the prayers out that I've written and we throw them in the fire. And it symbolizes the prayers going up to God because the smoke goes straight up. So
Oh, I love that.
it's a nice way of telling people we're thinking of them.
Wow, I really, really love that. So you just catch them on fire in that bowl and they burn and people watch it,
Oh,
or
we don't put it in the bowl because the bowl would crack since
oh,
Dutch Kimberley, since it's glass, it
uh-huh.
would crack. And I like the bowl. I don't want it to crack. Um, we actually put it so we actually have a fire on Friday night usually, and I tell people to write down something that they want to let go of and something that they want to call in, and I throw that into the fire. So think of a little campfire that they
Ah,
throw in, and then we'll throw in all the prayers, and then we'll say, what prayers do we want to say for people? We'll go around the circle, and then I'll toss all those in.
I love the ceremony of that. And also when you think of fire, you think of so much energy, you
Right.
know, forgot the word, but you think of a lot of energy happening there where, yeah, things
Well,
can spring up and,
fire is all
things can be
about,
consumed. That's where things can be consumed. Things
right,
can be consumed and things can spring out of the fire.
transmutation. Things
Transmutation,
transmute.
that's what I'm thinking of.
I got you. I got you. Transformation, transmutation. It's all about shifting. And I think when you look at a piece of paper and it shifts from paper to ash to smoke, what could it do for us? What could we do if we let go of things that no longer serve us? What would happen if we started talking nice to ourselves and stop talking negative? What would shift for us and how we view and value ourselves?
So when people go to the retreats and then they go home, a lot of times you go to a training or a motivational thing and you're all excited and things are going good. And then Monday morning or Tuesday morning comes and you're like, oh, where's all my motivation? And life falls in on you. So is there anything you have them actually continue doing?
We don't leave them out in the cold. So usually what we do is we have a private Facebook group and we'll have a weekly check-in. And then 30 days after, we have a retreat reunion. Back in the day when I lived in Chicago, and most everybody of the people that were back when I started in 2005, everybody would be from the Chicagoland area. And we would have a potluck at my house.
Oh,
So
cool.
everybody would come over and have a potluck. Well, here we are, and I'm getting from people all over the world coming. We even had a woman come to the retreat from the UK, which was fascinating. So when you have something like that, we're on a reunion on Zoom. So we 30 days after the retreat, we talk about what's shifted in those 30 days. And usually I'll leave the private Facebook group up for a couple months and then I'll take it down. We'll leave it up for 3 months. So that way people can exchange numbers. And usually we have a phone list and whatever. But the one gentleman came on my very first retreat. And on my 50th retreat, he came back and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. You were there for the first one. He's been to several of them, but the first one and then the 50th. And it was just so great. And I thanked him so much. And he's like, these retreats have been really good for me. And, he wasn't on one for about 5, 6 years. And he goes, I missed it. And then he said, I'm so glad I get something out of it every single time I come.
That is so beautiful. Well, I know after all this talking that people would like to connect with you or find you or come to a retreat or get training. So where do they find you and what services do you have now? And also we didn't even talk about your new book. So we just did a little bit, but whatever
Okay.
you got, lay it on us. We want to know what you got to.
All right. You can find me at eliaspatras.com. It's my name.com. I do one-on-one coaching. I also do group coaching. I'll do several different kinds of workshops. The workshops can be based on psychic medium stuff, intuition, past life. We do a lot of animal spirit guides, angels. We do a lot of stuff, anything about the inner voice and intuition. You can also listen. I also have a podcast, and you can go to mindbodyspirit.fm, find me on Your Inner Voice. And the book, well, also, let me share this. I also make energy balancing sprays and bath salts and scrubs. So you can find those all on the website. Everything's on the website. I am going to be doing several retreats in 2025. So I'm super excited about that. And for those of you that will find this when this airs, in December, I am a keynote speaker on a Spirit Heart Cruise with the Royal Caribbean. So I'm excited about that. That's going to Mexico. Let's see. Changing the FU to thank you, how to flip the script and see the gift. It is a workbook. It is a mindset workbook. And I have this quote, and I'm going to read it to you. Life hands us scripts we didn't write, but we have the power to edit them. We can't control the tough moments life throws us. We can control how we respond to it. By flipping the script and adopting the mindset principles, we can turn challenges into growth opportunities, embracing both hard work and the gifts within those struggles.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now I have a personal question.
Yes, I love it. Go for it.
What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment at this point?
I have to tell you, it's all it's my family. It's my family. It's the people that are no longer with me. It's the people that are in my life, what I call soul family. I have to tell you, the biggest gift that I received 2 years ago, well, actually 3 years ago, was meeting my husband and two kids and my two dogs, and it's a family. And knowing that somebody has my back 150%, knowing that somebody will move mountains because I've asked them to, knowing that I will move mountains because they've asked me to. That is something that makes me truly happy. Every day I wake up and I will give a thank you out to the universe. I say I'm so grateful for, and I'm really grateful for my life. I'm so grateful that my parents chose me. I'm so grateful that they brought me from Greece to America. And I just am a heartfelt, that sigh was a good one. It's just, I have so much to be grateful for. And even when things get the lowest of low, I have to remember that this journey comes with sometimes struggles. This journey sometimes comes with little bumps, but I was given the tools and have collected tools along the way to move through it. And that's why I love teaching, because I want to teach other people how to have those tools as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And you're right, having those tools makes life a lot easier if you have something to work with. So thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I have one last question. What
Yes.
is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
To live each day from your heart and be present. Every moment, be present, and always look for your yeses.
All right. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks.